Hello, everybody, and welcome to Talk About, your weekly news show where I, your host, Alex Brown, gather the top gaming headlines from the past week and break them down with you. But of course, as you already know, news is taking a back seat. Except for this episode, we will have two news stories to get to relating to the game I am going to talk about today, which is Cyberpunk 2.0. But yeah, because of all the games coming out, you already know the drill. Talk about is less about the news, more about the games. And today, I wanted to talk about Cyberpunk 2077 2.0. Not necessarily Phantom Liberty, mostly because I have not gotten to Phantom Liberty yet, but just Cyberpunk 2.0 in general, because of course, we all know the story of Cyberpunk. The next game from CD Projekt Red, hot off of, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Anticipation higher than ever because The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, as we all know, phenomenal game. One of the best games ever made, some are saying. So, the next game made by CD Projekt Red, of course, highly anticipated. People very excited about it. And of course, it was delayed, and it was delayed, and delayed. And then it finally came out in December of 2020. Maybe it shouldn't have, okay? We all know the story there. Maybe it should not have come out in December of 2020. Eventually, though, CD Projekt Red, of course, continued to work on the game, and with the release of Phantom Liberty a few weeks before Phantom Liberty came out, the big expansion DLC, there was the Cyberpunk 2.0 update, which essentially completely reworked the game and all of that jazz. Personally, though, I must say, I I didn't buy it. I got Cyberpunk 2077 that December. I got it on Christmas, December 2020. And I was like, okay, word on the street is this game a little broken, a little buggy. I will wait. I have a lot of other games I need to get to right now, so I will wait until Cyberpunk 2077 is in a better place. I did not realize that I would be waiting 3 years for that, but I must say I am so glad that I did, because man, oh man, Cyberpunk 2077 2.0. It's a 10 out of 10 game for me personally. I think it's a 10 out of 10. Undeniably a 10 out of 10, I think. So let me explain where I got that number from, where I concluded with that 10 out of 10. Of course, I didn't check how far I am into the game. I think I'm about 30 hours in, first playthrough, and all of that jazz. But of course, also to backstep for a second, I gave the score really early because I know a lot of people don't tend to stick around the entire way through. So I'm trying to say the score. I want to give these games way earlier so that, people can hear the score and maybe they'll stick around to understand why I gave it that score, So yeah, Cyberpunk 2077 2.0, I have to specify, 10 out of 10 game for me. And yeah, but why? Why am I giving it a 10 out of 10, you might be asking yourself? Well, it's because it's everything I could have ever wanted from a video game. It blew me away on so many levels. From the main story, the way that the story is just told to you, the story itself, the twists and turns you go on throughout it, the music also backing up all of these story beats, just really, it brings music in games is one of the most important things. Really, music and storytelling, when they are put together well, can make a bad story seem a lot better than it actually is. You know what I mean? And that's not to say that Cyberpunk 2077 is a bad story. It is a great story that is only enhanced further with the music, and it's just so cool. It's the coolest thing. And then we have all of these skill trees, all of these paths you can follow, different dialogue options. It's just a perfect RPG, okay? I said it. There you go. 10 out of 10. And yeah, I gave Baldur's Gate 3 a 9 out of 10 because it was buggy and stuff. Of course, Cyberpunk 2077 was, I don't even know what I would have given launch version of Cyberpunk 2077 at launch. I don't know why I said launch version at launch. But because I ended up waiting 3 years, and this is my first impressions of the game, yeah, it's in a great spot now. It's a perfect game. in my opinion. It's everything. There's no such thing as a perfect game, of course. It is everything I would have wanted from an RPG set in this cyberpunk world. It reminds me of Shades of the Witcher, of course, naturally, Cyberpunk, or CD Projekt Red. It has shades of Deus Ex. I love that. Dishonored, even. And it just wraps it all up with, really good storytelling. And apparently, Cyberpunk, the main story of Cyberpunk, is fine by a lot of people's um like barometers. People say that Cyberpunk story very good and nice. It's a fine story. But Phantom Liberty is word on the street, even better than the main story. So I'm very excited to get to Phantom Liberty. And yeah, that is the base level, surface level thoughts I have on Cyberpunk 2077. But of course, I want to dig a little deeper. And let's start off with the fact that there are going to be minor spoilers, of course, because a lot of the things, a lot of things that really took me by surprise were story related. And honestly, this game's been out for 3 years, so most likely you already know what I'm talking about. But I'm really surprised by the fact or how the community, how the gaming community as a whole didn't spoil this game because it has been out for 3 years, and I was just shocked by a lot of the early opening moments of the game. Of course, everyone knows that. Let's just start here, okay? Let's just start with Keanu Reeves as Johnny Silverhand, okay? I knew he was in this game. Everyone knows he's in this game, but I did not expect him to be in this game. He is so in this game. Like, he probably has as much dialogue, if not, definitely not more. He probably has the second most amount of dialogue recorded in this game, aside from the main character V themselves, which is crazy to think, because he's Keanu freaking Reeves. Let's rewind this a bit, because I had good look at him over there. He's just over there hanging out, and he's just hanging out the entire game. Of course, if you don't know, or you probably do know, the whole story is that you got this chip in your head, and it's Johnny Silverhand. His personality is like imprinting on you, sort of thing. And I did not expect that angle from it because, of course, I didn't know what to expect from this game. No one talked about the story. Everyone just talked about how buggy it was at release. So I didn't know what to expect from the story. And with all of the updates and continued progress towards making Cyberpunk a stable, good game from CD Projekt Red, they of course didn't talk about the story because the story was already there and intact. They just needed the game around it to work. So no one ever talked about the story. How many? I said story so many times. Basically, what I'm trying to say is the story is a very, very welcome surprise. I did not expect it to be as good as it is, and it has a lot of the main quests are just these set pieces, and it's so nice. And the game looks gorgeous. Okay, that does make me think of the one issue I've run into multiple times on this game because, of course, it is a graphical powerhouse. This game. It may not seem like it when you're playing an Xbox version and you've seen the PC Overdrive, Ray Tracing Overdrive Ultra mode or whatever it's called. I don't know. But it's pretty intensive for even a Series X console because when you play on the ray tracing mode, the game crashes a lot. A lot. It crashed maybe 6 times probably, and I had to, turn to the internet to see what the issue was, and people are all telling me, "Hey, try going through that segment with ray tracing turned off," and that would work. And yeah, also, I can only play this game in ray tracing mode. I don't care about 60 frames per second or any of that nonsense you kids love in your video games. It just looks too good, okay? The freaking ray tracing. I'm not in the right spot. I wanted to go a little bit further. They're just talking. Also, completely unrelated. Well, it's not completely unrelated. It's about Cyberpunk. This is a very hard game to record footage for because I recorded two. Oh, hey Takamura. Didn't I didn't know he was there. Um, this is a very hard game to record footage for because I recorded 2 hours of footage And in those 2 hours, most of it was just talking. And that's a definite like high point of the game, that I can play this game for 2 hours and have next to no actual combat, and the dialogue and just talking to people is that engaging and interesting for me. Like here we go. We're gonna get into a really cool scene here with Keanu Reeves, and it's crazy how much he does in this video game. And he a lot of times, okay, so we're coming hot off the heels of Mortal Kombat 1 with Megan Fox, of course. And she did she did her best. And then we have freaking Keanu Reeves back in 2020, earlier than that, doing all of this. And I feel like no one talked about it because everyone was just talking about the bugs. Like, listen to this guy. Okay, I'm trying sound for the first time. Hopefully, it works. I won't know until afterwards. You let me know if it works. Also, hit the like button while you're here. I need to say that earlier in the video too, so people hit the like button. I'd appreciate that. Every little bit of engagement helps, and help me out. I appreciate that. But yeah, here's Johnny freaking Silverhand. Not to mention the clusterfuck. And he's just so good. This is because it's Keanu Reeves, obviously. Infuriating. I can't hear it. I hope you guys hear it, and it sounds great. But he's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy how good he is in this game. I hope that was a good enough. Actually, I know good, even a little bit further. He's just really preaching it. Preaching the. He's just so good. I'm just let him go. Let him go. It's a war against the fucking forces of entropy. Understand? Do whatever it takes to stop them, defeat them, gut them. If I gotta kill, I'll kill. If I need your body, I'll fucking take it. All right, okay, that's fine, that's fine. But he's just so good, okay? The performances, not just Keanu Reeves, everyone in this game, it's so compelling. And the way that it's told throughout the first-person perspective, I thought would bug me because I spent all this time creating a character, Why would I want it to be in first person the whole time, Which brings us to our first news story. As I said at the top, there are going to be 2 news stories sprinkled throughout. I don't think I said it was going to be sprinkled throughout, but I do have 2 news stories for you. And the first one is, let me pull it up. How does this work on this? Let's find out. Here we go. From VGC, as you can see, posted by Tom Ivan, CD Projekt Red. CD Projekt has no regrets making Cyberpunk first person and is yet to see on the sequel. Quest director says the studio didn't want to get stuck in a rut like some other companies. CD Projekt Red has no regrets about making Cyberpunk 2077 a first-person game, but isn't ruling out making changes for its sequel, codenamed Project Orion. And that's all that's fine. That's enough of a jumping off point, which is all we do when it comes to these news stories. We use them as a jumping off point. Unless, of course, we're talking about the news. But the jumping off point there is that for the Cyberpunk sequel, they are debating whether or not to make it first person continued or to spice it up with some third person. And I personally think they should do a hybrid. I know that probably sounds complicated. I think the gameplay should stay first person because the gameplay in Cyberpunk 2077 is phenomenal. Whether you're, doing gunplay, you're using your katana, throwing knives at people, doing all these things, hacking people in the middle of combat, it just works so much better. The systems they have in place for it in first person just make a lot of sense already, and I wouldn't want them to essentially start over from scratch and build it up from the ground up in third person. I know that they're switching engines, which is also kind of a bummer to me because this red engine in Cyberpunk 2077 looks phenomenal. But they are moving to Unreal Engine 5 for Project Orion, the Cyberpunk sequel, which, everything we've seen from Unreal Engine 5 is breathtaking, like Keanu said. And I'm sure it's going to look just fine and just beautiful and just flawless and all of that stuff. But I really feel like it's a shame that they spent all this time making the CD Projekt Red in-house engine work so well for what they were doing with Cyberpunk 2077, and they're just gonna not use it anymore. I feel like that's a little bit of a waste, but I mean, they know what they're doing more than any of us do. So, I'm sure they've run the numbers, did the math, and it's probably easier to just start on Unreal Engine 5 than begin again with Unreal or with their in-house Red engine. But yeah, I do think that for the sequel, I personally would love a hybrid where maybe something like I mentioned earlier, the game reminds me so much of Deus Ex with the hacking and the stealth, which is optional, of course. I'm a very big stealth guy. Of course, also optional in Deus Ex. In Deus Ex, of course, the cutscenes and stuff could be in first person or they could be in third person. And I think that would be great for Cyberpunk because, of course, you do spend all of this time making your character the way you want your character to look. I don't think I have any actual footage of my character. There is my character. There's a menu. But, you spend all this time. Okay, I'm not in the menu. Okay. All right. Okay. But yeah, you spend all this time making your character and you only see them in the menu, is what I'm trying to say. You only see them in the menu or whenever you look in a reflection or when you go into photo mode. And I just think it'd be really cool if the sequel had a hybrid thing where the gameplay still first person, but cutscenes, as much as I like the first person storytelling in these cutscenes, I do always prefer that, cinematography, the cinematic versions of all of these things. Because if you saw that Idris Elba short film, what do you want to call it? The prologue to Phantom Liberty that they released, it looks amazing. I'm not saying that every cutscene has to be that level in the supposed sequel, but you know, if they could look, if they could have the cinematography of that, not necessarily the same CG work. You know what I mean? Because like, look at that. There's my character again. Perfect, perfect. Skip ahead. Well done, me. But I only see them in the photo mode and all that stuff. And I really like my character. I'd like to see V more. There's all the games I'm playing. But yeah. Yeah, that's the news story. And yeah, what else does that make me want to talk about in the game? Yeah. In the gameplay itself. Really good stuff. Where's that going with that? I did touch on the fact that a lot of the game is a lot like Deus Ex and Dishonored, and it's so much fun. Let me pull up my second gameplay clips, second hour here, where you can just see me popping on. Okay, well I messed up there. You can just see me sneaking around the place. It's so like you do like your little quick hacks. You have all your skill trees. Let's talk about the skills while we're at it, and let's press the full screen button on that. And you have all these skills, so many skill trees. Okay, I don't know if I ever open them up. I don't know if I ever do. It'd be so cool if I did. I wish I, planned this out better in my head. Just skipping around. I'm sure you hear my click clacking. Okay, I don't think I ever look at my actual skills, but there's a lot of skills, and it's a great time. You have your body attributes, your reflexes, your coolness. This is a bunch of things, okay? It's a lot of stuff where you can essentially build out your character to be more of a hacker type of person, a net runner, or you could build out your character to be more of a cybernetic robot, more machine than person sort of thing, and be like an edge runner or whatever. I don't know. I never watched edge runners, I'll be honest. It was too much violence for me, which sounds insane. I know it was too much for me. Okay, I watched one episode and there was just like blood, and boobs everywhere, and I was just like, I'm not. This isn't for me. But yeah, you can essentially build out your character in a bunch of ways. There's a bunch of references to edge runners as well in this, but neither here nor there. But yeah, you can build out your character in a multitude of ways. Although the thing I do feel like the skills are a little bit out of place in some sense, where on the technical attribute skills, that helps you with like lock picking, but the actual skills in them are things like, your grenades recharge faster, or you could have more cybernetics, and then that's tied to your lock picking, which is weird to me. And then your cool, oh, excuse me. And then your cool skills, your cool attribute skills are all about your stealth, but you don't have like lockpicking in there. I feel like the lockpicking shouldn't be in the technical skill tree. It should be in the cool skill tree, cool attribute skills rather than technical. Because it just seems odd to me that lockpicking can be used to help be more stealthy, but if you build out towards the cool attribute skill, which is where all your stealth skills are, you don't get the opportunity to lockpick, which I just feel like is an odd choice on their part. Really weird. But you see there, technical ability. Can't get through that door. It'd be really nice and helpful to sneak through there if I could lockpick that door, but we'll see. I mean, we'll see how I continue to build out my character, but for now, it's just odd. And of course, a game as big as this is, there are still going to be a few bugs here and there. But of course, I didn't think that there were enough to detract the game from overall being a 10 out of 10. And most of the bugs I had were more so fun, the funny kind of bugs, rather than the ones that make me just go, well, this is just detracting from my overall experience and making the game worse. Because all of those bugs, they were sure to clean up before 2.0 released. And things just like, well, there's still a little frustrations here and there. But a fun bug that I had was where I went into a boss fight. It was the hardest boss fight I've ever seen. Just a random difficulty spike. It just didn't make any sense to me. And then I looked it up. It was, if you know what I'm, for those who know, it's the boss fight at the end of the parade. If you know what that is, you know what it is. That boss fight. Also another lockpick door I couldn't open. Crazy. Yeah, that also I'm sneaking through this level. Look at me being a little sneak freak. I'm really good at this game. But yeah, there's a boss fight at the end of the parade level. And the mission difficulty just like out of nowhere completely spiked up where I was getting 2 shots. I'm playing the game on hard difficulty as well, not to brag. But I was just getting 2 shots. Whenever the guy shoots his gun at me, I die almost instantaneously. I was like, wow, this is crazy. Let me look up the internet, see what everyone else is saying about this boss fight at the end of the parade mission. And people are like, oh yeah, that's a bug. If you reload your save, he'll do normal damage to you. And he did do normal damage to me after I reloaded my save, and I survived way longer. And I was like, wow, that's a really weird bug. It's kind of fun though, because I thought it was funny that it's a random bug that has an easy enough fix because my save was right outside the boss door. But yeah. And also, I'm not even gonna lie. He got bugged out and he's stuck on a wall, and I just shot him in the head like 8 times and he was done for. Great time. I had a blast with it because he was, demolishing me for like 10 tries in a row. And then all of a sudden he got glitched into a wall, and I was like, make quick work of him. Very fun. Very fun game where you can just do all sorts of things. As you can see, I'm hacking cameras to see where other people are in this building, to ping them and see where they are. And another thing actually that reminds me that was that's kind of buggy, or they just need to fine tune rather, is the freaking knife throwing. Because look at this. Look at this, okay? Knife throwing, great for stealth, okay? You do a nice chunk of damage and it's silent. But I dropped a quick save. Getting a more powerful knife out, as you can see. I really wish I was better at fast forwarding. Here's my character again. See, look at that. Okay. Okay, well that worked. Okay, this is embarrassing. That worked fine. That was fine. Nothing bad happened there. Hold on. Okay, so as you can see here, it's great that I have the video pulled up, then I can do side by side with you all. But yeah, this is an annoyance that has been not great and has definitely made me question the way I play and make me consider changing it up or having to work around it in different ways. Where, as you can see, when you have a certain skill in the knife throwing skills, you can hover over an enemy and you'll see what damage that trajectory, that throw will do. And as you can see, this attack says it'll kill them. It has all of their health gone, as you can see here. Oh, you can see my mouse circling it. And what? Check this out. Probably probably check this out. And then it didn't hit him in the head. What's that about? Okay, like don't. It's one thing if my aim is off, of course, but it's another thing if the projected damage says, "Oh, this will be a critical hit and headshot and all that." That happens a lot throughout. As you can see, I reload the save. It happens often, too often, I would say. And fix it. Fix it. Make the trajectory right. If the trajectory says it'll be all of his health, let it be all of his health. But yeah, I did mention Edge Runners earlier, and I should have segued into the second news story. I didn't, but I'm going to talk about the second news story now. Let's pull it up. Bam. A live action project based on Cyberpunk 2077 is in the works. This also comes from VGC. They are the most. They're just the best news source. Okay, if as you know, I'm taking a pretty much a big break from news for the time being. If you want to stay up to date, check out freaking VGC. But man, my chair is loud. But yeah, this comes from VGC, posted by Chris Scullion. A live action project based on Cyberpunk 2077 is currently in the early stages of development. And then there's a bunch of other stuff, but that's all we need for the jumping off point, of course, as you all know. It's just your sources, cite your sources. But yeah, there's a live action or Cyberpunk project in the works, and I just wanted to say here that I desperately, desperately hope it is not on Netflix. Okay, Netflix. I'm gonna say it. They suck. They have what, 2 good shows ever? Is that it? I don't know. I don't even know. The Witcher. Don't even get me started on The Witcher. The Witcher, of course, doesn't have anything to do with CD Projekt Red because they're using the books and not the games as the basis for that show. So, not necessarily. It's like comparing apples to oranges. I know, but The Witcher sucked. Okay, let's just put it all out on the table. I watched season 1 of that show. That's all I watched. It wasn't good. Did not inspire faith in me to continue watching it. I read the books, of course, because, big fan of The Witcher. Of course, I read the books, and it just. No, no, thank you. It's. I didn't think it was a good. I didn't think it was very good, okay? I didn't read the short stories, I just read the saga, so I don't know what they were adapting, honestly, but there's that one episode of the Porcupine Man, and they said like, Geralt, it's your destiny, and destiny. I don't know what clip that is, but I'm sure there's a clip out there where it's just they say destiny like 18 times in the span of 2 minutes, okay, and it was a little absurd, and the whole thing is, and the timeline thing. I'm sure that they fixed the timeline thing later, but I just thought it was overly complicated for what it was trying to do, and it just not ideal. Anyways, anyways, I hope it's not on Netflix. Based on all of the things that the news story does go on to say, it seems a lot more high quality with people from like, I believe it was True Detective, earlier seasons of Game of Thrones, stuff like that. Westworld as well. A lot of those producers are like tagged on with the production company that they're working with, I believe. And yeah, I desperately hope it's good. And I don't know if Edge Runners was good by all people, by what everyone is saying. Edge Runners was phenomenal. I don't know. I couldn't get past the first episode, as I said, but it sounds Cyberpunk is such a big world that it's kind of hard not to nail it, if I'm being completely honest, because it's not so much of you have to follow this story. It's go create your own story with, good writers and all of that, instead of trying to adapt something, because as massive as this world is, there are so many stories that you could tell throughout the entire story, throughout the entire world. And yeah, that's the second news story. And let's bring it back to the game itself. Is there anything else I wanted to say about it? Oh, there is. There's more I want to say. I want to talk about the romance options, the side quests, that sort of stuff. Uh, okay, so let's talk about Judy and Pan Am. Okay, they're nice people. They're nice people, aren't they? Okay, Pan Am Wow. Wow. I'm playing a female V, so she's not for me, unfortunately, because I did try. I'm not gonna. I'm willing to admit that I did try. She said no, thank you, and I was like, all right, yeah, that's fine. And I'm not far enough to have romanced Judy, but hey, I'm gonna be there. Uh, okay. That does remind me though. I did romance a character. Actually, I remembered it. What's her name? I don't remember her name. That sounds awful. I know. I promise. I respect women. Um, the corporate lady in Act One. You know the one. You know the lady I'm talking about. I accidentally did the thing with her. Did the deed. It was an accident. I didn't mean to, because of course. Okay, if you must already know because I'm sure you did it too, accidentally. I'm sure, of course, naturally. But in case you aren't aware, there's the corporate lady in Act One that you can help out when you're doing your mission, and you can just help her out. Also, watch this clip on screen right quick. This I don't even know how this happened. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was rough. It was really unfortunate that that was recorded and I had to put it in this video. But yeah, there's the lady, corporate lady in Act One that you can help out, and I helped her because I was corpo as well, and I was like, it'd be nice, why not? It's an interesting wrinkle to add into the mission I'm already doing, to also do what she wants me to do, to help her out. So I did, and then eventually she calls you up and she's like, hey, or she doesn't call you, she texts you and is like, hey, we don't know each other, blah blah blah, that sort of thing. We never met, that sort of thing. Like keep it on the low low. That I helped her out. Shout out to Pan Am. She's calling me. Good for her. Good for her. Good for me. But yeah, she was like, yeah, we never met that day. Blah blah blah. Keep it on the down low secrecies, because she was like in a big piece of trouble. Anyways, so my response to that was something sort of okay. This might have been my fault. My response to that was something sort of flirty sounding, but I just thought it was like the funny option, like the funny haha. Something about seeing her tattoos or something. I thought I was like, just being a little dick. Okay, I thought that's what I was doing, and then she sent me an address to go to, and what I genuinely and honestly thought, because I'm just such a good innocent boy, is that she was going to send me to go to this address, and she was going to send like a hit squad on me because I made it seem like I was not going to act like I don't know her and I was not going to just follow what she said. So I was like, oh, she's going to send some people after me to take care of me, tie up any loose ends. That's not what happened. She was in that address, and then before I knew it, I was an innocent boy no more. And it was crazy because it was all in first person. It was weird. It was whoa. It was weird. Okay, it was weird. But let's move past that and keep talking about like main stuff, main or not main quests, but the side quests and the companions themselves. Judy, I have loved so far, of course, love of my life. Pam, also the love of my life, and everyone, just pretty much anyone who looks at me nice and is the love of my life. Shadowheart still is the love of my life. Of course, Sarah Morgan is also still the love of my life, but and irrelevant for right now. But let me fast forward some of this clips. Look how atmospheric this diner is. Okay, but yeah, the Cyberpunk 2077 does a thing similar to The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, where the side quests are so substantial and just over like so well written and well done that they feel like main quests, or at least I think so. I think so, at least, because oftentimes I am, just continuing a quest line, but I'm like, is this the main quest? Is this a side quest, or is this the main quest? Because it does the same thing like The Witcher, where you have your main quest, and in your main quest you'll meet characters like in The Witcher, you meet the Bloody Baron, who has his own side quest, of course, that feels like it's very important because, oh, excuse me, The Bloody Baron has his side quest that feels very important because you met him during the main quest, and you essentially started the threads of his side quest in the main quest. So it encourages you to continue off that path and see what happens next with the Bloody Baron, and it feels like it's the same level as the main quest because you still feel like you are doing the main quest in that sense, if that makes any sense. And Cyberpunk 2077 does that same thing where in the main storyline, you'll meet characters like Judy, like Panam, and then they will then diverge with their own side quests and they'll call you up and be like, hey, I could use your help, V. And they'll be like, hey, oh, hey. And then they kick your shoes up on you and it's really kind of hot. And yeah, it's a great time, okay? And if you're still here at this point in the video, I can talk a little bit more about Johnny Silverhand and how much fun that is. Okay, I don't know if he shows up again in any of these clips. Oh, here, yeah. Oh, perfect, actually. This is a perfect clip. Go up. There you go. Where Johnny Silverhand and V as these two characters stuck in the same body, it's just very good because also obviously it's Keanu Reeves, so I want to like Keanu Reeves, but Johnny Silverhand himself is kind of a douchebag, okay? But I feel like I'm making him more like me, and I always play a good natured character, as you know, and he's making me more like him, which is another thing. I really like how the game it's a really random thing for me to notice and probably only me to notice or other people like me. Not most people aren't going to notice it. But the game has drinking is an option in this game, like drinking the alcohol. You don't have to drink alcohol. Like there are several times where a character will be like, "Oh, let's drink to that. Cheers." You know, all of that stuff. And then there's always an option to be like, "Nah, I don't drink." And it's just it's the little things like that that I really like that makes V feel more like my personal V, not just a character that is set in stone for me, you know? And there are times where it's like, ah, Johnny being in your head, it's like, oh, do this thing because that's what Johnny would do. And it's like you could fight against that, or you could be like, hey, maybe I am becoming more like Johnny. And it's a great time where it's like Johnny will be like, hey, could you smoke a cigarette for me? And I'll be like, no, I don't smoke cigarettes. And it's a great time. It's fun. I really like the small little character things you can do that really build out V to be your own personal character rather than, like I said, a pre-existing character in this world that you're just like latching on to sort of thing. And it's a lot of fun in that sense. And that mission, that interlude, I think it was called an interlude specifically. When you finish Act 1 and you are okay, of course, if you're here, you must still care, right? The interlude mission when you play as Johnny Silverhand for like 10 minutes. It was a very brief moment in time, but I couldn't believe that it happened at all because I didn't know. No one told me anything about this. No one talked about the story. Have I mentioned that? How no one talked about the story? All they talked about was the bugs. So the story, once again, I'm saying it again, it is such a strong point for this game. Everything about it so far has been just blowing my mind, and I can't wait to talk more about it when I play Phantom Liberty because I have not played Phantom Liberty yet, and that's the big thing everyone's talking about, okay? And that's all I really have to say about the game in this moment, at this point in time, and I'm sure I will be back once I've finished Phantom Liberty and maybe finish the game as a whole. But for now, that's all I have to say about Cyberpunk 2077. It's a 10 out of 10 on the scale, on my personal scale. And yeah, I know this game came out in 2020, but Cyberpunk 2.0 came out in 2023. So I'm going to let you guys know now. It's going to be on my short list for Game of the Year. I'm just going to say it, okay? This game, in this state, in this year, deserves the spot just as much as any other game this year. It deserves to be up there alongside Baldur's Gate, alongside Starfield, alongside Tears of the Kingdom, all of those games, okay? Final Fantasy 16, get it out of here. No one likes that. I know a lot of people do, okay? I just do not like that game, and I'm tired of seeing it get praised for being a good game when it's not, okay? Maybe I'll touch on that another time. I'm doing the Donald Trump hand wave thing again. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But yes, Cyberpunk 2077 2.0, 10 out of 10 game. And I recommend everyone to go play it if you have been waiting to play it. Now is the time. You've been waiting for the game to get to a good enough point to play it, waiting for it to become that game you wanted at launch. Hey, it's close, as close as it's gonna be. I don't know if it is that game people wanted at launch still, because of course, all of the hype and energy and all of the excitement leading into Cyberpunk 2077 in 2020 is no longer like clouding my perception of it, if you know what I mean. Where I'm not living in the hype cycle right now. I am just like, okay, the game is supposed to be fixed. Let's see what it's all about. Instead of being like, oh, this game is going to be the best game ever made. I didn't go into it thinking that. Where like how I did with Baldur's Gate 3, where everyone was like, oh, it's the best game ever made. So I expected that. And since it wasn't the best game I've ever made and just more of a RPG I've played before, it was not a 10 out of 10. Still 9 out of 10. But for Cyberpunk 2077, it was just like, hey, this game's fixed. Go check it out. And I checked it out and it blew away all of my expectations, which led it to being a 10 out of 10. So yeah, have you been playing Cyberpunk 2077 2.0, Phantom Liberty, anything like that? If so, let me know in the comments below what you think about the game. Did you wait? Have you been playing it these whole 3 years? Are you playing it on that ray tracing ultra mode? Let me know. I've seen that and that looks so cool. I don't have $1,500 lying around to go buy a 4090, but if I did, oh man, I'd be playing this game ultra ray tracing overdrive DLSS super Sonic Sega mode. I don't know. But yeah, I will be back with another Cyberpunk 2077 video when I do finish the game, or maybe just finish Phantom Liberty. Although The Word on the Street, Phantom Liberty has a new ending to the actual game itself. So we'll see. But I do think I just want to make a follow-up video to this game because that's just how much I love it. I want to talk about it more because my thoughts are continuing to evolve with this game, with my character being built out more and more. I'm unlocking newer things, cooler things, and it's just a lot of fun. Let's back it up again. Also, brain dancing. I didn't even talk about the brain dancing, the crime scene investigation thing where essentially you become Batman for 15 minutes. It's awesome. Okay. I like it a lot. It's really cool to just scan through these crime scenes to see what happened, try to figure out what happened in these memories essentially, and it's a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm trying to end the video. I said all the things. Like the video if you liked it. If you made it this far, you have to like it, okay? You have to hit the like button twice. It doesn't do anything, I think. Actually, I think you have to hit it 3 times because if you hit it twice, I think it unlikes it. So hit the like button 3 times and share the video. Subscribe if you haven't. It's definitely subscribe if you haven't. Okay, if you made it to this point and you haven't subscribed, come on, give it the program. And next video is going to be about Assassin's Creed Mirage. I am like 8 hours into that game, and supposedly that game is supposed to be really short. Not really short. It's supposed to be shorter than other games. So I think I would like to finish that game completely before I do a video about it. I'll do a full review for it, where instead of just talking about it like I do with everything else, because it sounds doable. Probably expect that on maybe Monday. We'll say Monday. Sounds about right. I'll play it this weekend. Supposedly really short. We'll see how it goes. But I just wanted to get this. I started recording this video because I was like, I need to go ahead and record this video so I can get it out of the way, so I can play more Cyberpunk 2077. So we'll see what happens with the content lineup coming out after this one, because if I play too much Cyberpunk 2077, maybe there won't be an Assassin's Creed Mirage video yet. We'll see. Excuse me, I had a hiccup. But yeah, that's it for this video. And of course, hit the like button, all that stuff. Hit the subscribe and bell button. Tell me what you think about the game, and tell me. Ooh, I hit my knee on my desk. Yeah. I'm gonna let you guys leave now if you haven't already. Until the next video, though, stay safe and play some video games.